Hi YouTube friends, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead and the owner of the Herbal and Essential Oil Aromatherapy School, Botanicals, at Healing Harvest Homestead School of Botanical Arts and Sciences. And I am here today because it's allergy season. It is now seasonal allergy season. We're deep into it. It's springtime, and I know I've been making lots of different herbal preparations, tinctures, and teas, as well as using essential oils to help people with their sinus issues and just the discomfort that comes with seasonal allergies. We all know what that feels like. If you've ever had hay fever or inflamed sinuses due to pollen, you know it's not fun. It can keep you from sleeping, and we don't want that. So let's go ahead, and I thought I wrote an article on my website a while back on my 10 favorite essential oils for sinus relief, but I thought I'd go ahead and just share some of these with you here on YouTube as well. So these are in no particular order of being favorites, but I will talk about the ones that I generally love to use, especially with adults. And by the way, on my YouTube channel, I do have a video where I talk about 2 different sinus roller bottles that are helpful. One is for adults and one's for children, so safe for kids. Some essential oils you don't want to use with children that are very young because there are safety considerations. In fact, if I were to talk about my herbs versus my essential oils in terms of safety, herbs are so safe. They're just wonderful. Which brings me to another video I have on the channel, and it's for an allergy tincture. So if you do a little search for allergy or tincture, you'll find that too. And you can also make those herbs into a tea, which is mullein and marshmallow are the 2 herbs. Very, very safe, very, very wonderful and helpful for allergies. So in the meantime though, let's go ahead and we'll talk about essential oils. So lemon is one I love to diffuse for allergy issues. This is not one I like to put into roller bottles or preparations that are going to go directly on the skin, because lemon happens to be phototoxic, which means if you put it on your skin and go out in the sun, there's a chance you could sensitize your skin or get a little sunburn with it. So I don't recommend using lemon in a roller bottle. However, it is wonderful in a diffuser. It contains a chemical called limonene, which really helps boost your immune system. And if you can boost your immune system during allergy season, what that's going to do is help your body deal with what's going on with it. So when we have allergy issues, we've got these allergens get into our bodies, and our bodies don't like them. So we end up trying to fight them off, right? If we have a strong immune system, our bodies can do that more easily, which helps us not get really sick or feel really bad or have to turn to over-the-counter drugs, which we don't want to do. Okay, so lemon is one of my favorites. Again, I don't like using it so much for topical use, but definitely in a diffuser or for inhalation, perfect. The second essential oil that I really love for allergies is lavender. And lavender is not super strong in terms of allergies, but what it does do is it calms you down, and it's also an aromatic, so it does help to an extent open up your passages. I really love using it with children. So if you have a diffuser, or if you want to use it topically in terms of diluting it first, of course, this is a really all-around good essential oil to put in blends that are helpful for allergies. Okay. These 2 I'm putting side by side because one is not safe for very young children and one is better, okay? Peppermint. Peppermint's wonderful for adults and children over the age of 10. I don't think it should be used with children under the age of 5, and definitely not, for little ones. It contains menthol, and menthol can be very strong. And most people handle it just fine. However, it may, stimulate some responses in very young kids that are not the greatest. But peppermint's one of my favorite for allergies because I just can't stop smelling it, sorry. It opens up your breathing passages. It calms and cools those inflamed sinuses, and it's just wonderful, and it smells good. So I've had great luck using peppermint. For children, I recommend spearmint. Spearmint has similar qualities. It's not as strong in the menthol, not even close. But children do very, very well with spearmint. These are two that I would suggest putting in a diffuser or using in an inhaler, okay? Peppermint, I really am careful with peppermint topically because it's considered hot. It can be a skin irritant too. So just be careful if you're using these in roller bottles that are going to go on your skin. But in terms of diffusion and inhalation, love them, okay? Next up, we have Eucalyptus globulus, and there are other species of eucalyptus too, by the way, and all of them contain a chemical that is the reason why it's so good for our respiratory systems, and that chemical is called 1,8-cineol. Globulus has a lot of 1,8-cineol. It's very powerful. It's one of my favorites, honestly, for respiratory health. Love it. And it's excellent. Again, I don't use it for very young children, okay? It's wonderful in a diffuser. It's wonderful in a roller bottle. It's wonderful for inhalation. You can use this in a broad number of ways. If you're working with children, especially very young ones, I suggest an essential oil called Fragonia. This is a very soft, very soothing essential oil. It contains 1,8-cineol, but not in super high amounts, and it's also got apinine, which is a chemical that's contained in pine trees, which are also really helpful for the respiratory system. So Fragonia, it's Fragonia, very, very nice for kids. I use both of these topically and also in inhalers and diffusers. So next up, we have balsam copaiba. I love this oil. It does not have a strong scent, so it's not the scent or the power of it that's opening up your nasal passages, but what it does do is it calms and soothes. It reduces inflammation. It has a chemical called B-caryophyllene that is exceptional for helping your body deal with inflammatory responses like allergies. So it's not going to give you the immediate relief like peppermint and eucalyptus, but what it does do is it reduces the inflammation quite significantly. The next step is German chamomile. I love German chamomile. Oh, this is a new bottle. It's one of the blue oils, and it has a chemical called chamomile. But German chamomile is going to act similarly to the balsam copaiba. It's going to reduce inflammation, and it's also going to calm and soothe the anxiety that comes with discomfort. And you guys know when you're under a lot of pain or stress from physical discomfort, it makes it worse, doesn't it? Mentally and emotionally, it just makes it worse. So when you're dealing with issues that are uncomfortable, I really like to have an uplifting aspect to the blend as well. And by the way, back to the lemon, the citrus oils, lemon included, are mood uplifters. So they can actually make you feel happier even when you're dealing with stress and things like that are very uncomfortable. And then there is sweet marjoram. Sweet marjoram is one of my favorites. I love this for allergies. I love it for general mental wellness and emotional uplifting. So sweet marjoram is an aromatic herb that helps to open up your passages. Again, not to the extent that some of these stronger ones do, but it definitely does help. It supports the respiratory system. But more than that, it supports the stress response in an incredible way. It's actually a nice sedative acting essential oil. So it's one where if you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, this is helpful. And I love putting it in diffuser blends as well as topically and inhalation too. All right, next up in terms of my favorites for allergy season, pinyon pine or any of the pines really. The pines contain pinene, and then we are going to have some different chemicals depending on the species of the pine tree. But the apinene really helps your respiratory system. It helps open up those passages, and it's not as powerful as the eucalyptus or the menthol and the peppermint, but it helps a lot, and it's really nice for children. Okay. Another thing is it supports the immune system. So pine is another one of my favorites. Frankincense is another one of my favorites. Frankincense is a resin, and it acts like a resin. It's got a very kind of a pungent, aromatic, it helps your mind open up, and just it brings you peace. Okay, so frankincense is one of my favorites. It for that reason also it blends really well with all of these. Okay, so it just adds a nice balancing aspect to your blends. Okay. It's also rather expensive, so if you need to leave it out, then that's fine. By the way, most of these are not expensive. German chamomile is pricey, but it's easily substituted with the copaiba. And frankincense is pricey, you can just leave it out, all right? And by the way, you don't need to use all of these at the same time. You know, if you have, most people have lemon, lavender, peppermint, and eucalyptus on hand. Many people also have the pines on hand. Play around with those in the diffuser, all right? And by the way, as long as you're not using these really close to like little children's faces, diffusion in a room is very safe, generally speaking. So diffusion is one of my favorite ways of dealing with the discomfort from allergy season. Before I get on to the last essential oil, I just want to say that there are personal inhalers that children and adults can carry around with them and use as needed. There are actually little mini diffusers. I don't have one here, but Rocky Mountain Oil sells one. I can put a link below if you want, that you can just turn on and turn off. It's like a little personal diffuser that only impacts your own space. So it's really nice for that. All right. And then tea tree is another one. This is, oh, it's beautiful. I love the Australian aromatic plants. I have to say, they're just wonderful. But tea tree essential oil is fabulous. It supports your immune system as well as some of these others. And it also opens up your airways and is really helpful for just general breathing, okay? So if you go to my website, I do have some different diffuser blends that work with some of these. There are other essential oils I could have mentioned here, but I thought I would just stick with the 10 I stuck with in my article. But if you want recipes, head on over to my website. I'll put a link in the description below, and you can play around with some really nice diffuser recipes. By the way, I'm Heidi with Healing Harvest Homestead. I'm a certified aromatherapist and herbalist. I work with clients, and I love teaching people about natural wellness and natural living, and I hope that you will not be a stranger in our community. All right, you have a really great day, and I'm so glad you're here.